wakhe wathi sohlangana nge-Freedom Day. At this moment, you guys, I know I'm ready to release an album, Part 1, intro, it's a Guicha song. Part 2, I'm trying to make it slightly smoother, but yet it is again the empowerment zone with myself, Queen the Empowerer, and we are still on that Mandela thing. Thank you so much for tuning in once again, and you know what to do: like, share, and subscribe. And if you are joining us for the first time here at the Empowerment Zone, what we do is we amplify the voices of change makers, humanitarian activists, people who care about South Africa, Africa, and the globe at large. So on our previous episode, we had a brilliant guest come in going by the name of Enzio Jacobs. Please make sure that you go watch that episode because it links up to this episode. And on that episode, we're just discussing Mandela's legacy and just getting to know him as a person in general. But on this particular episode, we are challenging you into taking action and being accountable, right? And we also going to look at the 67 minutes, what you're going to be doing on the day, which organizations you can maybe partner with and join with. But I never ride solo. I always bring incredible guests with me who are here to share insight and knowledge with you, and of course impart knowledge. And today I am proud to say I'm with my fam, like fam. In the activism space, you end up finding family, and that's exactly what happened with me. Of course, just next to me, I have a very handsome, a very handsome, humble gentleman that I met as a colleague who happens to work for Defend Our Democracy. But also, I met a soul. On the last episode, we spoke about the Mandela energy, the Mandela effect. And I think this lady carries exactly that, because we had never met in person, but speaking to her telephonically and over email, her energy is just crazy. And I just can't wait for her to just share all her pearls of wisdom. But without any further ado, let me just welcome you to the Empowerment Zone. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And for the intro, maybe let me start with you, Idah. Sure. Just let us know, whomst are you? Just generally background, what do you do?
Okay.
Who are you?
So Idah Setati is a single mother from Kagiso West Rand. I've always had a passion to kind of create change in my society, in my community, but moreover, just growing up, because my dad was a cop, and I also wanted to be a lawyer because, he was in the community doing the work, saving people's lives. But that has always been me, really. But my career started out in radio, doing the radio shandies. That worked out very well because then it really helped me to build my voice, to understand the power thereof, and how that it can really just be a tool I can use in my journey of activism. But that's just me. I'm out here. I'm Education and Training Officer at the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Youth Activism and Leadership Program. That's the current role I fulfill now. But on a day-to-day, if I'm not in Kagiso doing my activism work, I'm at the office continuing the efforts of the foundation.
Oh, beautiful. That is well explained. Abuti Kabelo?
Well, I feel a bit scared.
Yeah. Feel like ADHD
very
moment.
well-spoken ladies beside me. But so my name is Kabelo. I was born in Soweto, currently living in Roodepoort. And I think what's brought me to the activism space is just my love for humanity, and I think the level of compassion that I have. So growing up, I was always someone who was into sports. I was always playing soccer somewhere with my friends or something. But growing up, I moved into the communications field. That's what I'm qualified in. But I've always had this feeling that I wanted to use my qualification to the betterment of society or to the betterment of someone else. So when I got the opportunity to work in the civil society space, I grabbed it, and I've been in the space ever since.
And we are so grateful that you grabbed it. Speaking of you working in the civic society space, we spoke about Defend Our Democracy on your intro, which is an organization that you work for. Can you just elaborate on what that organization is about?
Yes. So Defend Our Democracy, it's an organization that I joined in 2024. When I joined, we were working on a campaign called Election Watch. And that's really a campaign that's it's encouraging citizens to become independent election observers. So that's really the introduction I had to the organization. But the work that it does is really just around democracy. So how do we ensure as people in civil society that we spread democracy? We try and innovate the democracy that we have, but also make sure that people in communities are able to feel this democracy. So we work around 4 pillars of work. The first one, and this is what the organization was started around, it's tackling corruption and state capture. So that was something that the organization viewed as something that is very detrimental to how we experience democracy and to the future of the country. So tackling state capture and corruption is one of the big features of our work. The second pillar of our work is electoral reform. That's an area where we're also doing a lot of work, looking at what reforms are needed in our electoral system. And then the other 2 pillars of work is democratic innovation. I just spoke about now how do we as people innovate in our democracy. So we're looking at ways to say, how do we distill some of these things and take it to people so that they can actually use these democratic tools whenever they are facing challenges in their communities. And then, the last one is movement building. So we were started by a sort of coalition of organizations that are in civil society. There's faith-based organizations. There are those that are working in the policy space, different sorts of organizations that came together and said, there needs to be this organization or movement called Defend Our Democracy. So that's why movement building is one of our key pillars. In every space where we work, we try and pull together organizations who are doing similar work to try and create some cohesion so that there's no duplication of work, and our efforts as civil society organizations are more impactful if we know who's doing what, how, and we try and make a collective push towards bringing the change in that space.
Oh, interesting. It sounds so familiar because our partner here at the Empowerment Zone happens to be an organization called Mobilize. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. And yes, I foresee a great collaboration already if it hasn't started, because I'm not up in the office, I'm here. Yeah. But also, Idah, yep. You actually technically, I'm somewhat your baby. I'm somewhat your child because under the AKF, I happen to be a mentor, which we are led by you, the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. Can you just elaborate more on your organization and the work that you do within the organization?
Sure. So the foundation was founded in 2008 with the core purpose of deepening non-racialism, as well as strengthening democracy through social justice, as well as active citizenship. The role of the Youth Activism and Leadership Program really serves as an extension. But the core of what we do, guided by 4 pillars, is to, I want to say, resource, equip, and develop young leaders within our communities who are able to mobilize, organize, conscientize, but most importantly, action solutions within their communities, whether that looks like hosting democracy circles that we're currently doing. So, for example, that would serve as an opportunity for not only our youth clubs, but civil society organizations, individuals, to begin to host these kinds of conversations. One, to educate people on what government is, for example.
I am people, by the way, a beneficiary of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation.
Moreover, because even when I look at my own personal journey, they've really gone above and beyond to educate us, to conscientize us, to also kind of resource us in a way that enables us to go into our communities and be actionable, but successfully as well and sustainably. And so, founded by our core pillars, first being youth economic empowerment, which aims to develop young people through entrepreneurial skills, leadership skills, understanding the ethics or components of ethical leadership and what that looks like practically on the ground. Our second pillar would then be active citizenry, which is what the Youth Club is about, going out into the communities, hosting dialogues, engaging with young people, collaborating with NGOs, FBOs, schools, to begin to create solutions around the issues that they face, specifically around young people in their communities. And then thirdly would be social advocacy. For example, this would speak to mental health. and the challenges that young people face within the mental health sphere, and what that practical solutions look like towards tackling that. And then lastly, which is a new one that we were chatting about in the youth department, which is community climate justice, which aims also to bring awareness and new solutions around climate within our communities. For example, I'm from Kagiso, and it's a mining community, right? We see a lot of the mining industries coming in, but we're breathing funny air right now. A lot of people are getting sick.
Trust me, our partner Mobilize is so gonna love you for saying that.
You see?
We are big on climate justice.
Lovely. And so that's just the founding pillars that were founded on through the Youth Activism Leadership Program. But outside of that, its core is to really develop young people because we're taking a decentralized approach with youth clubs in an effort for them to be more independent in the work that they do on the ground.
Wonderful. And I'm sorry just to bring it right back at you again, because Kabelo mentioned what called him into activism, right? And I always ask this question. Perhaps my audience are finding this question very monotonous, but I feel that it's a very important question because we are trying to make people aware that anybody can be an activist and anything can inspire you to be an activist. And to be an activist does not mean that you need to go out there and ban a tire. An activist just means you are an ordinary person that wants your country to be better or your community to be better or even your personal life. So what called you into activism?
Sure, a personal experience. I was actually having this conversation with Kabelo.
Which is lovely.
In the car on the way here. So I'm a victim of gender-based violence. I had left an abusive relationship who happens to also be the father of my child. And so I was navigating post-traumatic feelings, my healing process. And what I really wanted to do for myself was to do something, even though I couldn't really articulate what it was. And so in 2019, there I was, 3 people, one of my closest friends, they were books, my late neighbor, as well as another lady, I forgot her name, but...
Shout out to all of them.
Shout out to all of them, right? We did a silent stand in 2019 to bring awareness around gender-based violence within our community because it had taken a rise, and we had seen on the news the incident around Uyinene. And so that sparked... I guess the activism back then took over from then, because for 3 consecutive years, I continued in that activism journey, continued with those silent stand. And then I think about 3 years ago, there I was at the training center in Chamdo. I was part of a program then, but then I was called into a meeting. They were having a civic education workshop there. Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, there was Moiketsi, there was Loiso.
My people.
They were giving... having a civic education workshop, and the person I was supposed to be meeting that day is like, no, ma'am, Ida, this is so you, man. Like, this is where you should be right now, because I know you really want to continue the work that you're doing, but you want to do that a bit more impactfully and sustainably. Here's an organization that can help you navigate that journey. And there it was. And the rest is history. Here I am 3 years later, really working towards, I want to say... elevating the impact, specifically also in my communities, but in the communities that we serve through our youth clubs.
And I'm going to come back later to you with the relationship between Ahmed Kathrada, Uncle Kathy, and Mandela, right? When we're just getting into the relationship side of Mandela, the relationships that he had. But I opened with the song that Washu Mandela, kubalandeli bakhe wathi siyohlangana nge-Freedom Day. And we know that was a milestone in South Africa when we had our first democratic elections in 1994, where he became the first Black president. And today we have organizations like Defend Our Democracy, right? And one of the things that saddens me in this lifetime is to see young people not voting. Seeing people in general, the notion that it's just young people, I think it's because young people are a majority, but a lot of people are not voting, and it continues to decline. What do you have to say about that, especially from an organizational perspective? What are some of your observations? What are some of the advices that you can give to people to defend our democracy?
Yeah. So I think, Queen, it is a very worrying phenomenon that young people are pulling away from this democratic process of voting. It's concerning, and what makes it more concerning is that across the world, we're also seeing that sort of pull away from democracy, mistrust of leaders, causing that sort of thing, and people maybe moving towards more radical options, preferring dictators also. I'm sure you've heard those sorts of talks coming about. So, I mean, it is very worrying. And I think as our country, we should be more worried because young people are the majority, as you say, and stand to be affected the most by
Tell
pulling
me
away
about
from
it.
those
And Kabelo,
democratic
it's election
processes.
year this year.
It's election
So
year.
we really need to like educate on the importance. I know, I mean, we've just had the registration close, but just for future purposes, because I think one of the things that I believe in is planting seeds. How can you encourage people into taking their power through voting?
Yeah. So I just want to touch on that of registrations. The IEC has reported that there was an increase actually in the number of young people that they were able to register during that
Is it
registration
because they
weekend.
introduced the digital maybe method? I hope
Possibly,
so. I
possibly.
hope so because I was one of the people that was rooting for that because like guys, now we must stand in queues again when all we do is always be in our gadgets.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe possibly. It might also be a shift that they are doing in their marketing and the spaces that they are trying to get into. Or maybe it's young people in some pockets saying, actually, you know what, we do need to be involved in this. I hope it's the latter, that young people are taking it upon themselves to say we must get involved in this. That would be a very good step. Because as I'm saying, the issues affect them. So seeing something like that, the IEC reporting that it is something good. They will have another registration weekend that will come up in August. So I mean, the process is very simple for young people. We are online beings. You just log on to the IEC website and you make sure that you register to vote. I mean, I think you're saying how do people plant the seed, Queen? I think it starts with things like being involved in voting, being involved in society and what's happening around you. Because I think maybe what some people might the perception that some people might have is that politics don't affect me. Well, or why should I care? I don't want to be involved in politics. Uh, and I think that perception is very wrong because whether you like it or not, those politics are
Will
going to
affect
affect
you.
you.
What's the famous saying again? You might think you are not into politics, but politics is into you.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
the famous saying.
So
Yeah. I mean, just to add on to what Kabelo is saying, that I think also young people need to move away from the mindset that democracy is a distant thought. It's the street lights, it's the roads we walk on, it's the
The
school
water you
facilities,
drink.
it's the water you drink, and not voting says you're revoking that opportunity of self to shape the kind of South Africa that you want to lead or to be in, and moreover, you're taking the opportunity away to hold leaders accountable.
but
Super awesome.
sorry, maybe just I want to add on that point of voting. It is a step that young people should take to get involved. But I think there's more that follows that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's also something that's missing, like on a large scale in our society, to say that how do you engage in democracy after you vote? So we have all of these issues that we complain about, but after we vote, what are we really doing to follow up and to be active citizens?
And Ida mentioned something around the leaders we choose. I think also when we're looking at this voting phenomenon is that people need to understand that you just don't vote for the sake of voting. You need to research what party you want in power, what leaders you want in power. Do they align with your values? And those are some of the little things that people don't understand, that when you just let the three of us vote, you are saying we must instill those values in the country and not yours. 100%. But speaking of great leaders, we mentioned the relationship between Nelson Mandela and Uncle Kathy, who's the founder of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. Today, I'm trying to embody Mama Winnie with my little took because she's one of the people that played a pivotal role in making Mandela's life what it is. Can you just tell us a relationship between Uncle Kathy and Mandela, what you know of?
From what I've read and the research that I've done, we all know that he was his comrade in arms, right? There were certain, I want to say, leadership ethics that Kathrada then work together with Nelson, such as, civic participation, strengthening ethical leadership. But moreover, I want to say at its core and at its crux is to say that every action counts, and a collective action, collaborating in that way, really serves us great justice as a country, and will continue to serve us justice, specifically around our democracy and specifically in the times that we're currently living in. And so, living around, it's important to kind of continue in that legacy of collective organizing, of strengthening ethical leadership. Yeah, I think that's what I can say for now. In essence.
And I've been busy watching the Mama Winnie documentary,
Yes.
and when we think about active participation, one of the things that I love about our heroes, our struggle heroes rather, is that during that time there was no social media, so you wonder, how did they gather such people? I mean, we just had a June 76 episode and we had like 10,000 students protesting, and you like trying to figure, then there were no pamphlets, there was no cell phone to say, okay, let me WhatsApp Idah and Kabelo and say, let's meet at this point, and they made it possible. And I think that goes to show how privileged we are to be living in this time. And of course, it is because of the great heroes who showed us that it is possible. And therefore, for us to be active participant, it has become easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
sorry to
yeah, sure,
just gonna
go
chime
right
in.
away. That's why you're here.
You mentioned also that they live in a time where resources were not as vast and
Yeah.
and accessible as they are now. And I really urge young people to begin to see the resources that they have, such as the digital front, and how they can begin to use those platforms to participate in their democracy as a first step. Because remember, it's social media, but we require actions on the ground. For example, submissions to your local government on certain demands, following a podcast that we had, engaging on those kinds of solutions. And so I was having a conversation with some of the gents in my community, and I was asking them questions. Are you guys going to vote this year? And they're like, no, man, Idah, we're not going to vote this year. We don't really see the importance thereof. But I'm like, but you see the importance of liking and tagging and sharing content and subscribing. What if we took that and we took influencers and we took the influencer circles and brought them together to run campaigns that are youth-led, one, but moreover are sustainable in that efforts, right? So post the podcast, for example, as I mentioned, post the podcast would then submit to our local government, or would submit to our local ward councillor in terms of our demands or whatever grievances that we have. And so, yeah, just changing that mindset to say, yes, they were not well resourced back then, but they made it happen, and they did, and they did it.
And they did it.
What rona re palwa ke eng
You
type
know
of
what?
setup. Yeah.
And on one of my episodes, especially particularly the June 16, we also spoke about this voting thing. And I somewhat empathize with people who don't feel the need to vote, because I think that is also a way of protesting in its own right? And it takes, I don't know what to call it, for somebody to get to a point where they're like, nah, angisazi ngeni. Ganhle ka setso sithi bayangala. Kungala lo. And I think that this is where we put the challenge up to our leaders to say, we cannot have so many people bangalang. What is it that we are doing wrong? Do we have enough voters, education? Do we reach out enough to people to hear what is it that they feel? Because other people feel, okay, like it's useless. There's so much corruption that even if I put the X on the ballot paper to next week, I don't have water, I don't have electricity, I can't access, education, and so on and so forth. So I think we need to hold our leaders accountable where that is concerned, but also just to continue sharing this message of Hongala how to see at the end of the day, right? Speaking of that, with the Nelson Mandela Day, which is the 18th of July, we also know him of his charitable spirit. And perhaps you guys can share your thoughts on what 67 minutes means to you personally, why you think it's important, what will you be up to on that day? Maybe let me start with you, Ida.
Sure, 100%.
You were ready for it.
I was.
Hey, yo.
Why
Rikiane
particularly? Because the
Osife.
18th is my son's birthday.
Oh, nice. It's my
Right?
niece's birthday
Yes.
also.
So that's quite significant for me outside of the significance itself. But you know, the 67 Minutes Initiative reminds us that democracy is an action word. It's a consistent doing word. And then for me, that's what it presents. That, you know, I want to say it becomes a lifestyle. And so it's something that happens continuously throughout the year. It isn't just about the 67 minutes, but in that 67 minutes of the 365 days, you know, what are you doing? Are you leading a dialogue on voter participation? Are you leading a dialogue on the importance of local government? Are you leading a dialogue on who are the relevant stakeholders in our community who can help us to kind of tackle the issues that we face? Or whatever the case might be. So for me, 67 minutes definitely represents that democracy is more than just the words. It's a doing word that's consistent throughout the entire. Yeah.
And Kabelo?
I think for me, what it maybe represents.
This is what we spoke about earlier on. Somebody is like
not used to this phone, but
Yeah.
what 67 minutes means to me, I think it's a powerful call to action. If you think of what happens on that day, I'll say that day, even though some people give 67 minutes, it's a call to action like nothing that we have in this country. It's something that's able to automatically on that day, people know that, you know, they want to do something good, something that's going to benefit another person. So I think it's a very important call to action in our society. I don't know if there's a call to action like this anywhere else in the world that really calls people to say, come together, volunteer. You're not doing this thing for, you know, payment or whatever. You're giving your time because it's going to benefit another person. And everyone has that spirit on that day. So I think, it represents a very powerful call to action.
It surely does. And Kabelo, you reminded me of the first time I started participating in the 67 minutes from the township of Vosloorus, and I always say this. What we did was clean our streets. Because a lot of people think when you have to do charitable work, maybe it includes money, maybe it includes like looking for big resources. But we have a very big main road. At the time, it wasn't tarred. And we took it upon ourselves as a community that we are going to clean the street. And later on, we started planting trees, which now, impacts, we spoke about climate justice. We've done it as a community. Now, I think this was like... Yo, guys, I'm about to reveal my age. But yeah, let's just say a decade ago, right? Because now we can physically see the trees that we started planting at that time, you know. And this is just me just reminding people that, like, doing that charitable work doesn't have to include money, doesn't have to... It's literally helping Nkgono wako next door. It's literally, you know, visiting a home. It's cleaning. It's using your social media for 67 minutes. You know, I always wish that this 67 minutes could extend to 67 years and eventually eternity. But yeah, is there anything that you're doing at the AKF for?
100%. So our youth clubs will be doing some activations on
Feel
the
free,
18th.
Caps, feel free. It's a podcast, so it's
I'll
not
switch
bad.
it off.
Can say, hey, baby, I'm talking about Mandela here. Yeah.
So our youth clubs across Gauteng will be doing some activations on the 18th of July, from cleanup campaigns. I remember there's a beauty contest. One of the youth clubs is doing a beauty contest. There will be sports tournaments that will be happening.
Wow, that is so creative.
Yeah, I mean, our youth club leaders are really shining through. Even on June 16 with the 16th 50th youth club anniversary of our 1976, they went out. I'm so proud to say that at Youth Club Leaders man, they are really doing their thing, going out into their communities, mobilizing, organizing, conscientizing, and actioning.
Yeah. So, Youth Club, are you like trying to compliment me because I'm one of them?
Yes, definitely. Let's give you your flowers while you're still here, Mama, because you're actually doing that, right? Yeah, but that's definitely what they're doing on the 18th. But yeah, that's us in the youth clubs.
Okay,
Yeah.
because we are ending our discussion now. People would obviously like to get a hold of you. I mean, you guys have shared so much insight. Where do they get a hold of you? Like on your personal pages, on your organizational pages? Maybe let me start with you, but just look at that camera for me. Just for people, just tell them your social media handles if you have, your organizational social media as well.
Yeah. So on my side, I'm not really much of a social media person, but organization handles.
That is so
You can,
interesting because you're
yeah,
so quiet. I know you in person, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
people are hearing you very articulate right now, but
yeah.
I know that you like keeping to yourself. So I always thought that people who keep to themselves actually go on social media and start blah 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 blah.
Maybe I must get a few burner accounts.
That would be so
No, I'm kidding. I'm
interesting.
kidding.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can find our organization's website. We have a website, it's defendoutdemocracy.co.za. You can find us on all social media. Twitter at For Democracy SA. So at For Democracy SA. And then on Instagram, we're Defend Out Democracy. If you just search that, you will find us. Facebook for the older ones,
I'm a 1K.
the tree planting generation.
That's us. Shots fired.
I'm kidding. And yeah. So just Defend Our Democracy. You'll find us there. Please do support our campaign. It's called Election Watch. And there we're really, really just pleading with organizations and citizens of this country to become election observers and make sure that we safeguard the integrity of our vote. So it's one thing to vote, but it's also another thing to know that it was free and fair, and that that vote is going to actually count for what you meant for it to count when you left your house. So also be there, safeguard that the vote that you have made. And yeah, so we're running this national campaign. People can join this. And we'll all collate all of our observer reports from voting stations across the country and say this is what we observed as independent election observers.
And your social media handles?
Yes, we're www.ahmedkatradafoundation.co.za. On TikTok, we are Kathrada Found. On Facebook, we are the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. I'm Idah Setati across all platforms. And then also we're hosting democracy circles as part of the youth and leadership youth activism and leadership program. And as I mentioned previously, it's a call to action to youth clubs, civil society organizations, and individuals to begin to host dialogues and workshops around democracy, local government. But please feel free to be on our socials to get more information. Thank you.
Oh, that is super lovely. Okay, we have a tradition here at the Empowerment Zone, like at
Okay.
the end of the show, because the things that we talk about are so hectic, right? So we just play a little game, right? So don't think much about it. The first thing that comes to your mind, you just say it, right?
Okay.
But if you don't know the game, you make me wonder, have you subscribed? Have you liked? Have you shared? I'm going to bully you into subscribing. But that is also me just reminding you that if you've watched up to this far, please make sure that you leave us a like. But most importantly, I think I am particularly looking forward into your engagement this time around. I want to hear your views on some of the things that the guests shared. I want to hear some of the things that you guys want us to discuss here at the Empowerment Zone, because this is not about me, it's about us, right? So yeah, I urge you to like, subscribe, share, but also drop us a comment and let us hear your views. And you know how I do it. I can just start the show by reading your comments because I am nice like that. That's why they call me Queen the Empowerer. Let's get to the game. Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Oh, wow. And the game decides to win. Okay, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Okay, I thought you were going to go cats. I thought I knew you, leader.
A cat.
Okay.
A cat queen.
Yeah. It is because of your demeanor. But anyway, hip hop or jazz?
The sweet spot in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can give you that.
Hip hop.
All right. Tea or coffee? I know this one
Tea.
because we offered you. And
Yeah.
I'm
Ray
a tea
boss,
girly.
the tea.
Coffee.
Okay, coffee it is for you. And then indoors or outdoors?
Ooh, both.
But why are there always gray
Good.
matters with you? We want black or white, non-racialism.
No, the thing is that I enjoy time alone, and but I also enjoy the outdoors. And so sweet spot in
I
between.
hear you.
My answer is similar to hers. I did say that like I was a sports person. I am a sports person. So I do enjoy time outside.
And says explain. This is not a dating show. Relax
Siyangithengisa nathi queen. Now, maybe kunomuntu obhekile. Ngiyadlala baby. But both.
Yeah. Oh, romance or action?
Ooh. Sweet spot in between. I do like a bit of romance, but I do love action. When Transformers, when I'm there. But sweet spot in between. Yeah.
Action.
Okay, action. Okay, solve the electricity crisis or the water crisis.
Shoo.
Let's see the age. As born in abantu abaplanti ihlahla. It's a difficult one, right? You know, there was a time this question was very easy for some people. Like a certain generation, if I have to say. Guys, why are you thinking so hard about it?
Thing is, it's hard, Queen, because they are
interconnected.
Also, maybe when we were only facing the load shedding, then we would have said, I solved the load shedding. But now, there's water issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is
I would solve the water.
Okay, water. You don't know.
Sweet spot
on the fence.
Sweet spot in
the lady who stays on the fence, who goes by the name Idah Setati. Thank you so much for joining us here today at the Empowerment Zone, and thank you so much also Kabelo Kemp for coming through and sharing your pearls of wisdom. You guys are super amazing. Thank you also for the wonderful work that you are doing. Please continue doing it. And I hope that as we are seated here, Mandela in heaven is proud that there are young Mandelas who are emulating some of his values, some of his principles. And I hope you at home also are a young Mandela in your own right. And that is me just saying, from us and our ever awesome crew here at the Empowerment Zone, and of course, our beautiful partner, which is Mobilize. Thank you so much for tuning up to this far. We look forward to the next episode with you, of course, joining us. And that is us saying adios. Until next time. Bye.